My name is Dorothea Hass. I'm the founder of Walk Boston, and we are here in the South End. It's a Victorian neighborhood adjacent to downtown Boston. Well, I founded Walk Boston actually largely because of a neighborhood like this. Approximately 25 years ago, I lived in this neighborhood. I was here as a younger single woman, and I found myself fascinated by the city, fascinated by this neighborhood. And I found myself walking around. I was just drawn outside from one beautiful street to the next, and then from this neighborhood to others. And I thought, how wonderful to walk in the neighborhood. It was just a new and fresh, exciting experience all the time to wander through the neighborhood. And I wasn't particularly new to Boston at that time, but I had this feeling of adventure every time I walked down the streets. And I will confess, today, many years later, I still have that feeling when I come to a beautiful street like this. Walk Boston is a pedestrian advocacy organization. We were the first in the U.S., and our goal is to make it easier and safer for people to get about on foot. We view ourselves as a transportation organization. And so our goal is to treat walkers in the same way you would treat cars, trucks, motorcycles, and to say, how can we easily get across the street? How can we shorten walking distances? How can we make it easier and pleasanter for people to move about on foot? That's our mission, and we carry that out in many ways. One of the projects we've had in recent years is to try and persuade the city of Boston, and we've been somewhat successful in that, to provide more walk time in the traffic signal system. And so you want to slow traffic. A car if you're hit by a car going 45 miles an hour, you have an 85% chance of being killed. If you're hit by a car going 20 miles an hour, you have only a 15% chance of being killed. So our goal is really to slow down traffic. The Safe Routes to School is a program to encourage children to walk to school. A generation ago, many students, half of all students, walk to school. But today, only about 15% actually get there on foot. And so our goal has been to try and encourage parents and students to walk to school. And so we have, and in many communities, especially in the greater Boston area, schools are within walking distance. That's a quarter to a half of a mile. There are sidewalks in many communities. And when I went before a board that was considering funding our program, and it eventually did, I'm happy to say, I asked them if their children walked to school, and they said no. And they said the reason why is that all the other kids are being driven. And they were horrified to think that they lived a block from school and their kids wanted to get in the car and be driven to school. So our goal is to have more children walk to school for several reasons. One is that it will create a lifelong habit of walking. It will, of course, reduce traffic congestion around the schools. It will increase children's health, and it will improve the environment overall. I'm doing a lot of work currently, and I have for the last several years, in lower income neighborhoods of Boston. I so want these people to feel comfortable in their neighborhoods, for parents to feel they can send their children to the park, for people to go out in the evening on a warm June night and stroll around with their lover and their child and their dog. And it's very difficult because there's a fear of violence. There's a high level of violence in these neighborhoods, and people are afraid to go out of their houses. I'm just torn apart by the problems and the fear that people have in these neighborhoods to go out of their front doors. I do a lot of walk audits with teens in some of these neighborhoods, and when we walk along the streets, they often ask me if they can divert a block or two to see a shrine where someone they know or a friend of a friend has been shot and killed. And we go to these shrines, and there are flowers, and there are teddy bears, and there are notes, and it breaks my heart. like all organizations, there's been a lot of evolution in the last 20 years. In the first years, we were a real shoestring operation. We all gave of volunteer time with very, very little money. But eventually, we did obtain more funding, and I think more importantly, the culture changed so that people began to recognize, I would say about 12 years ago, that walking was more important and that it contributed a great deal to the life of a community. In the last 8 years, the health community's been very interested in walking as a way of controlling people's weight, increasing their overall fitness, and so we have received support from the Boston Public Health Commission in our work to try and make neighborhoods more walkable. Throughout the country, there is a major food and fitness initiative. The Kellogg Foundation has funded projects in 9 cities around the country to take a look at how people can, how communities can begin to grow local food so that you don't lose all the nutrients in the fruits and vegetables that are shipped from Peru or California to Boston. And also, how can we encourage more people to become fit within those communities? So Walk Boston has become part of a larger collaborative here in Boston called the Boston Collaborative for Food and Fitness, and it incorporates farmers, it incorporates people from the health community, it incorporates the bicyclists, the walkers. It incorporates neighborhood groups. We're really trying to take a look at how we can reshape our communities so that people can both eat better on a daily basis and get regular exercise just by walking to their friend's house. So this is part of our mission. This is a very exciting movement, and we're very pleased to be part of it. Well, I would like to see Walk Boston begin in some way to take on the jobs issue, and I don't know how that is. I don't know whether that's to train people to rebuild the sidewalks in their community and learn the skills of providing more landscaping or providing other amenities, whether or not there are lower maintenance techniques that could be undertaken for crosswalk painting and other kinds of technical projects. So I think that I would like to see us begin to expand our mission to take a look at how the physical environment is created and how we can work with young people to reshape that physical environment in some way that provides them with both skill training and some jobs. So I'm not sure how that's going to happen, but that's what I'd like to. That's what I'm sure will happen. We were coming out of this crazy 60s where there was the free love movement, the anti-war demonstrations, a very, very exciting time where there was a lot of change afoot. And I think a lot of people, such as myself and others, took a look around and said, what a wonderful, exciting time. We're moving back to the cities. We're going to transform them. This is going to be a whole new world. We have this vision, which actually has largely been carried out when you look around at a neighborhood like this. And so that to some extent has been achieved. And I think now it's time for a new mission. I think it's time for a new vision. I don't know whether that's going to be more of a focus on the environment. It may be a back to basics movement. So we will see. I hope very, very much there's a new movement, and I plan to be part of it. But I feel that this has been very empowering to me personally, as well as to the movement. And I feel now that change is possible, and that it's really, in large part, a question of persistence and sticking with it if you really believe in it.